midnight.
Something's knocking at the door.
Under the moonlight.
You hear the scream. And Werewolf by Night's coming to you from Splash Pages. Oh, yeah. And then something is gonna kill the children tonight. But Leo, let's put it live.
I almost don't want to. You guys are on a roll.
It's Splash Pages. It's Leo, Rich, and Drew. They know exactly what to do, and they're improving, hoping not to getting canceled.
Let's start
Tonight!
You are, in fact, watching
Leo,
The
it's moments
Dorkening. You're watching The Dorkening. Stay tuned.
For all the geek news everywhere. Dorkening.
And this is The Dorkening. Trust me, I'm smarter than these guys.
Because The Dorkening is the best and most educational entertainment and information source that the Trauma team knows of. It's the best. The Dorkening.
Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. You're watching Splash Pages. My name is Leo. I'm the monkey behind the keyboard here. We have an awesome show scheduled for you. As always, ton of comic news. New York Comic Con just finished, and Werewolf by Night is out. We're also talking about a sick comic. Something is Killing the Children. That and a lot more. But without further ado, Mr. Velvet Joker. Hello.
Hello. Good evening.
Hello,
Hey, welcome. It's me, Velvet J, here on the second week of Shocktober. And we're bringing you live at Splash Pages, a comic book club podcast here every Tuesday, as you well know, award-winning. Yes, we are. Don't ever forget. We've got a great show tonight. We're going to talk about Werewolf by Night. Jack Russell, or Jacob Rusoff, if you will. We'll get into that. And I don't know what else we're going to do tonight, but I know I got my buddy Drew right down here. Oh, he's sleeping. Shh, be very quiet. We're hunting rabbits. Rabbit season.
Right.
I got
Well,
Drew.
Are we on?
Good evening.
Oh, hold on. Hello, and welcome to Splash Pages. We have a night of wonderful terror ready. But first, New York Comic Con. Back to Leo.
Drew, you messaged me over the weekend. You're having some FOMO about New York Comic Con.
Yes. Now, before we get into that, because it's not anything gross, kids, I need to let everybody know what is FOMO. So I did exactly what everyone does in my generation. I Googled it. Now, FOMO, aka fear of missing out, is an emotional response to the belief that other people are living better, more satisfying lives, or that important opportunities are being missed. FOMO often leads to feelings of unease, dissatisfaction, depression, and stress, aka that is now the name of my demon, so I can now control or cast it out.
I have to say, I knew what FOMO was. I learned it from South Park. I think there was a FOMO in Soho or something. It was something like that. It was
South Park being educational.
Yeah, totally.
So yes,
Respect my authority.
It's going on 3 years that I've not been back to New York Comic Con, and last 2 years didn't count because whatever. But this year I felt it because I just saw all these people doing these things, meeting these people, having this fun and whatnot, and I just felt like singing. Leo, I was like, I want to be where the people are. I want to see them cosplaying, walking around on those. What do you call them?
Escalators?
No. I'm crashing. But my point being is it was beautiful and I missed it and I had to be an adult and sacrifices were made.
Yeah.
I'm up.
And any shot, Drew, that you're going to head down to the haunt in NYC that we were discussing last week?
I might. It really does depend on my weekends, to be quite honest, because I'm really trying to get a lot done in these next couple of days. So I feel that when I have my time off, I can actually enjoy it instead of oh, I don't know, what should I be doing? It's like when you go on vacation, but you're thinking about work. So it's not really a vacation; it's just a break.
Yeah.
Are you planning on going?
No, I'm not going to make it down all the way from up here,
What
unfortunately.
about you, Leo?
Repeat the question.
Heading down to the haunt in NYC that Kyle is putting on.
No.
No.
I'm
I might head down if he really does that screening of that movie that he was involved in.
Yeah, right. Maybe. We'll see. But so Leo, speaking of NYCC, a lot of big stuff got dropped. So
hell yeah.
Do you want to summarize? You're our favorite summarizer. So do you want to take it away?
I'm going to do my best, but first we got a ton of people watching. So if there's anything you want to discuss, definitely put it in the chat. What did you miss from New York Comic Con or see?
Or people watching?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just saw two right there flashing it up. Hey guys,
I just said that, and
thanks for checking in tonight. We appreciate it.
So big news today is Blade is getting pushed back. They're going to be looking for a new director.
Ooh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
because that's usually a good sign, things like that. But okay.
Yeah, that was Chainsaw Man. It was in the news as well. I'll bring that up. Also, new Wakanda Forever spot came out, and we won't play that because we'll get shoved off YouTube for playing that. But a couple minor scenes. They launched it on Twitter, I believe. Yeah. And they also Ironheart also casted Sonia Dennis.
Oh, okay.
Looked like she did some voice acting before. So I'm not seeing anything big there. But everybody's talking about Super Mario Brothers this weekend. The trailer.
He's got a flat butt, I heard.
Yeah.
People were complaining about he had a flat butt.
I think that's a diversion, like some sort of tactic that, because they should be talking about Chris Pratt.
His horrible voicing of "It's me, Mario."
He didn't even do that. There's no accent whatsoever that I could tell.
Yeah, I know, and people are going really in on that. I think the greatest criticism I saw of that, which was, and is very subtle too, was from Tara Strong, of all people. I don't know if you guys heard about that.
No, what did Miss Tara, my Harley, have to say?
She posted a photo with Charles, I forgot his last name, the guy who's been voicing Mario in the video games for all this time. And she just had a photo with him and her, and she just said it should have been Charles. I was like,
wow, yeah,
way to shoot the shot, but without saying it.
Yeah, but a good point by Amy down here. To see Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd together, I saw a bunch of videos and posts about that. Very heartwarming to see them reunited. And of course, always sad to see Michael J. Fox's condition, which obviously he's living with and doing the best that he can. But
do you love Gantt charts?
Sorry, I'm trying to pull up the video, but why the hell do I got a 42-second ad on YouTube?
But I don't love Ganthar. I don't even know who Ganthar is.
Yeah, who is Ganthar? Like, why is he on the show? You've got to tell us about these guest stars ahead of time, Leo.
Amy says, I decided to miss New York Comic Con, not getting to see Michael J. Fox, and I'm going to show the video. Let me pull it up right here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's from somebody's cell phone, so we shouldn't get dinged. We just won't play the music. Just amazing to see these two together again.
I just think it's amazing seeing Christopher Lloyd doing, he's still doing his thing, man. He's still acting and whatnot. I
just rewatched Nobody. He is awesome. He is awesome in that.
Well, yeah, he's the dad, right? I seem to recall that. Yeah, I heard he's great.
Yeah, let me rewind that again.
I have to be honest with you too. I'm hoping that he has some secret cameo in the Wednesday show, because I saw a new clip that revealed that Fred Armstead, is supposed to be Fester, and Christina Ricci has a role in the show.
Oh, no way!
I just watched the trailer and it revealed that, which was cool.
And I was like, "Oh my god, that's so great!" Sergio, we don't know. We decided to just roll a D20 dice, and we're gonna see. We have a bunch of subjects aligned. Leo has it, and we'll see what we got.
Yeah, not to stop on the Michael J. Fox thing real quick. He also had mentioned in that little interview that the one thing he regretted about the series is that it gave the impression that they wrote that song, and he gave kudos to Chuck Berry. Even though it's a fictional thing, he still felt that a lot of people felt that it was kind of a slight to the one of the forefathers of rock and roll, and I thought that was really nice of him to mention that.
I never, that's crazy because I never even thought that, but I'm glad that he's thinking outside of the box and just considering, especially because that movie really catapulted Johnny B. Good even further into public consciousness. So I'm glad
he's the next generation of that era. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I just checked. Christopher Lloyd has a lot in the works right now. He has a brand new movie that actually just came out on VOD this week. Spirit Halloween, the movie.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about that.
No? Okay.
No, because
it's bad.
No, why does Spirit Halloween have a movie?
When a Halloween store opens in a deserted strip mall, 3 friends thinking they've outgrown trick-or-treating decide to spend a night locked inside, but their night of spook-fiendish survival.
Oh God! What the second you're describing that, I was like, a Disney original movie.
It looks like it.
Well, that just goes to show you, seasonal shops make a lot of money because if they've got enough money to dig out and promote a movie and put it out there.
Christopher Lloyd.
So here's his upcoming slate. Mandalorian, he's going to be in episode 1 for season 3.
Nice.
Time the Fourth Dimension just finished, is now completed. Super Athlete, Camp Hideout, Nandor, Fodar, and the Talking Mongoose is in post-production. Man and Witch is in post-production. Tuned Out is a TV series was announced, and Untitled Lonnie Pixels project.
Mm-hmm.
He plays Grandpa.
Of course he does.
Yeah.
I will say, having met the man, even though briefly a few years ago, he's so great. Christopher Lloyd. Like, I would love to just sit down and have if I could have an hour talking to him and just tell him how much his work just inspired me, inspired an entire generation. It's just fantastic. And then the range, you're talking with the man, Doc Brown,
Taxi.
Thank you. Taxi. Judge Doom from Roger Rabbit. Uncle Fester from the first 2 Addams families. Didn't he have a role in One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest? I'm thinking of somebody else.
I think you are.
Yeah, right? Okay. The Dream Team. There you go. Gotta love him in that with Michael Keaton.
Yes, Sergio Drew, just to say your name. You're famous. You're internet famous.
No, there's just so many. She's just done so much. But I just always enjoyed perpetually that people love referencing Back to the Future. I mean, it just nailed it.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you have a whole show. Rick and Morty is just,
right. When he did the live action Rick, that was amazing. With the kid one of the kids from Stranger Things.
But I mean, that show in general is just, just a love letter to Back to the Future,
Well, yeah.
I mean, kind of.
Well, it's definitely there.
Yeah.
But what other news, NYCC?
So a new spot for Black Adam dropped as well.
All right.
And I'm going to present the screen. This was a screen grab from it. And they are really, really, he burns a hole in Superman's face on a poster.
Yeah, I heard that.
Yet again, they're not
jealousy there.
Well, it's all the whole thing. They're not showing Cavill for some reason.
They did the same thing for him in Shazam, remember?
Yeah.
It's just really weird. But listen, we're not questioning WB executives right now because it's every good thing they give us. I was like, what bodies are you burying under that rug?
So it's a give and take this week with them. WB Discovery announced more layoffs this week.
Of course.
Rumor has it DC Comics may get hit.
No.
But also they did announce DC Ultra. Have you heard about DC Ultra?
No. Tell us. What about DC Ultra?
I don't like this.
So DC okay, you know what DC Universe was,
Yeah, that's exactly what this sounds like. This is like an upgrade.
It's an upgrade to DC Universe turned into DC Infinite or DC Universe Infinite. Now this is turning into DC Ultra, which is an upgrade. And they will give you the comics 1 month after they hit the stores instead of the standard, I believe, 6 months.
Oh, okay. Well, compared to that is an improvement.
Yep.
Whoopee! Yeah, it's still saving my money. Thank you. Moving on.
It can be all yours for $100 a year.
There you go.
No. Continue. Well, Leo, hold on. I'm gonna left Continue.
Okay, I'm really excited about this. So I was not a Supernatural fan. I'm sorry. I didn't really get
Leo. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they're coming out with a prequel called The Winchesters.
Right.
Okay. Well, they announced that Tom Welling will be joining the cast.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That is some big news. That's
So he will play Mary Winchester's father, Samuel Campbell.
okay. Okay. That's a big boost to the show.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
I mean, it's great to see, Tom Welling, back in the limelight again,
Yeah,
So-
I think the last time I remember seeing him, excuse me, woo! Last time I remember seeing him on a television show, he was on Lucifer. He was King.
Mhm. Right.
That's the last I remember him. I don't know if he's done other stuff. But,
Well, he was in the crossover for the Arrowverse.
yes, I know, but that did come out. That came after Lucifer, right?
Yeah.
But that was him, kind of. Sergio, I have to see the rest of those before I watch that, but it's on my list.
And Jabo, what do you mean meh? Meh? What?
Go back to sleep, Dream.
Oh, actually, there was Sandman news as well.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Are we doing season 2?
Well, we may be, but the news I'm talking about is 2 characters from Sandman are entering the Batman. It's going to be in Batman versus Robin, Cain and Abel.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of Leo, you saw Battle of the Super Sons, correct?
I did. Oh my God, that's so good.
Okay, so definitely gets a thumbs up.
Oh yeah.
I have a friend of mine who's a big fan of those characters and that whatnot also gave a really good review. So I'm very excited to watch it. I hear it's going to be really good.
Yeah.
Gaming adjacent news, they dropped the poster that Good Omens season 2 is definitely dropping summer of 2023.
Oh, okay. I'm really intrigued by that because the book really encapsulates only what was covered in the first series. So
Correct.
New stuff is going to be completely new by Neil. So that's going to be really interesting. So, okay. I mean, Michael Sheen and David Tennant were arguably the best part of that show. So,
they're a great odd couple.
Yeah.
100%.
Some sad news. I'm not going to say it's the gatekeepers that did this because we won't give them any credit whatsoever. But Superman Son of Kal has been canceled. It's going to end at issue 18, and then it's moving to a mini series.
Okay.
My notes. Let's see. Mini series is The Adventures of Superman, John Kent. And as you know, a lot of the gatekeepers were upset because Superman was bi, but it's not Superman. It's Superman's son. It's
it's an entirely different character.
Yeah, totally.
Listen, if someone enjoys something and you don't, and it's not for you, you don't buy it. But you don't look down on somebody who likes to read it. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear hashtag not my Superman bullshit.
Yeah. Are sales down on that book, guys? Have we heard this, or is this really being shut down because of stupid reasons?
No, usually, Rich. Anytime a series is ending or whatnot, it's always sales. But there have been times where, like you said, books are removed for political reasons or personal reasons or some sort of scandal. That's true. I would say 87% of the time it's always sales.
Okay.
So I don't know.
I bought it. I did my part.
Yeah. Did you feel that the storyline, Leo, the last couple of issues that you've read, did you feel that the story was dying?
I'm not caught up.
Okay.
Yeah, So, me, I'm kind of bad. I don't visit my LCS on a regular basis, but it's, every couple months, I'll pick up my box, and so I have a big box of comics.
Good.
right here.
To read, right? Okay, all right. So you're still digging through.
Oh yeah. I still need to read the new Harley. I showed
with
you.
the beautiful covers that you showed us. Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember them. They were great.
Yeah.
Okay.
It started off really strong. I really enjoyed it. Same thing for Robin as well.
So, what other news do you have?
Shemezzle on everything, Leo.
Okay.
Schlemezel.
Yeah.
Awesome Pepper Incorporated.
All right. So, Leo, what else?
Okay, let's see. Batman versus Robin #2. Cain and Abel, I covered that. More layoffs, WBD, covered that. Okay, Blade paused. I covered that. Warrior Nun season 2 coming sooner than we thought. They haven't released a date for it, but there was some teaser images released, and that will be coming out soon.
I have no idea what that is, but okay.
Ooh, no?
I have no idea what this is.
No, we do not know.
Oh, okay. Warrior Nun, comic-based Netflix show. I have not read the comic, but the show is quite good. It's it's a warrior nun. It's pretty kick-ass.
Okay.
Okay, so let me pull up here. The slate for Walt Disney Studios was leaked, and I will pull it up here.
Bum, bum, bum.
Yeah. So there's a lot of unlisted items towards the end. 2028 Avatar 5, December 17th of 27, Untitled Star Wars. But in 2026, we're getting Untitled Marvel, Avengers Secret Wars, Untitled Marvel, and Untitled Marvel again. So it's a lot of untitled releases. But
it's still a lot of years away, too.
That sounds very untitled.
But Fantastic Four listed for February of
2025.
Yeah.
And Avengers the Kang Dynasty of 5 of 25.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt that they are getting their money out of this.
I'm sorry, I make no opinions till I see a trailer. That's
all right.
Totally. So I don't. Again, this could be all rumors, but this was leaked
rumor
today. So
okay, all right, cool, guys. This is the tentative schedule as of now. Will most likely change. Thank you. Why? Money.
Oh, Matt from Eagle Eye Media. Hey. Okay, you're doing a new big cast. And cool. Send us the link. Definitely want to check it out. He's a good guy. We haven't heard from him in a long time.
All right. Well, there you go. He's not dead.
See, that's Splash Pages reaching out to everybody.
Oh, hell yeah. Let's see.
Leo, the newscaster, looking through the news.
Leo, I just feel like you have to be rocking some Lego Batman level logic when we're doing our shenanigans. Just always be recording, because we had a great moment before the show while waiting for you, me and Rich, and it was hilarious. But only you are there to confirm it ever happened, because you did not.
Are you talking the singing? I got some of the singing on recorded.
I told you, never tell me you're recording, because then it'll just dry up. If I just feel like no one is watching, shine. Someone's watching, I'm like, no.
Oh no.
No. I'm like Invisible Boy and Mystery Men. The second you look, I'm like, oh no.
All right. Well, I won't tell you that just on Facebook alone last week we had like 230, 240 views. So.
Wow. Getting up there. We might be able to afford a haircut for all of us.
That's right.
Oh, you just buzz it. That's all you need to do.
Sweet. But is there any other news NYCC wise, Leo?
Nothing too major. A lot of media stuff, unfortunately. So we can save that for tomorrow. I mean, Picard.
Yeah. I want you to have stuff to talk about tomorrow.
Have not seen Smile. I think I don't know if Kevin saw it. But yeah, some people watch Smile. I have not seen it.
I really admire their campaign, because I don't know if you saw it. It's just people being in public places and just doing the smile at like random public places, like, oh, behind the catcher's mound, in a movie theater. Like, it just people would just do and I'm like, yeah, that's not creepy at all. You know. And here's the pitch, and we're dead. You know.
So Variety is reporting, I don't know if this is 100% accurate or not, but they say Dwayne Johnson absolutely plans to make a Black Adam versus Superman movie.
Well, didn't they do? Oh no, that was a Captain Marvel versus Superman movie. I was going to say, but kind of similar. Okay, I mean, right? It technically would be kind of a fair fight, right? Because they're both kind of Superman, but Black Adam is a slight advantage because he's magic, and that's one of Superman's weaknesses.
Yep.
True indeed.
And
Okay.
here's a new Doom Patrol poster. It was released at New York Comic Con.
Okay, yeah. So, being that I have little to no watching of Doom Patrol, minus a few clips here and there, I saw this trailer, and the singing butts really threw me off.
It's a great quirky series, Drew. I really think that's something you'd enjoy.
Listen, I feel like I'd have to, but I feel like I'd have to read Grant Morrison's Doom Patrol to kind of really understand this is what we used as a reference. You know, and I heard that shit is just wonky, weird fun. I mean, it's Grant Morrison, so the man has literally said, "Yeah, I know. I just, sometimes when I was doing comics, I was doing hardcore hallucinogens." And I'm like, "No, granted shows." You read his work, you're like, "What the fuck is this?"
Well, so speaking of Doom Patrol, Brendan Fraser, I'm hearing rave reviews about his movie Whale.
Yeah, well, Leo, as we found out on the episode that you were not here for, his name is Brendan Fraser. It's not Fraser. It's Fraser.
Thank you.
Because
right. If we ever get to meet him and you embarrass us about that, we're throwing you out.
Yes. So now that we all know we're all on the same level, his name now is Brendan Fraser. Well, it's always been Brendan Fraser.
But we're spreading awareness. Fraser.
I've been a fan of his ever since that. What was that? The Weasel.
Encino Man.
Yes.
Yeah, when he was the man frozen in ice.
Yeah,
he was the original Captain America.
Yep.
He was whistling the juice. But
nobody knows what we're doing.
Nobody who was born in the late 90s.
Well, he was around. Well, he's still around. He's running the comedy club.
Listen, all everybody needs to understand: you need to watch Encino Man. You need to watch George of the Jungle. Okay,
you need to watch the Mummy movies.
All two of them. You gotta watch them. If you are glutton for punishment, you watch things like Monkey Bone, and then you also watch great gems like Blast from the Past. And underrated ones that are not the greatest but still fun, like Bedazzled.
Yeah, I like that one. That was fun.
I love that one. And fun fact, directed by Harold Ramis. Everyone, I was like, people don't know that. Yeah, I know. Thank you.
So he says mainstream horror is going downhill. Korean and indie is where his attention is now.
Well, the thing being is that a lot of modern horror is just about reinventing the same ideas. They're basically just playing it safe by going on trends. And that's the thing. So Korean horror they're on another level with their body horror and their commentary and whatnot. That's on another level. And that's what that is. And indie, it's just because indie they're very more centric on storytelling. Because some indie, and I have said this before, is very pretentious because they're trying so hard to be creative and artsy and winning awards. I'm like, just tell the fucking story, my dude. Don't care if it's in sepia or black and white. Go.
Yeah, I don't love a ton of the new horror either, but Black Phone was very enjoyable.
It was. The new Hellraiser
Yeah, we both just saw the new Hellraiser, which was an interesting twist and really got a little more into the box and the history and the different configurations of the box. And I found that interesting.
And honestly, I will say this because, again, I have my policy about spoilers. That's only been out a week. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I will say if you are a fan of the original, you will enjoy this simply because while it's more of a modern horror movie, like you got to do the setup and everybody, whatever, the Cenobites, the redesigns, how they look, how they act, how they sound, and yes, pay attention to that, kids, is, in my opinion, very attuned to what Clive Barker essentially wrote about in his original novel or novella, The Hellbound Heart, which is what was the basis for Hellraiser. So
Nice.
honestly, I don't need another one. To be quite honest, this was really great. But these Cenobites, I mean, pretty great. I'm not gonna lie. And dude, I'm gonna be honest. I need to address one thing. I saw some people have been very critical about it because the actress or actor. I do know that the person who portrayed the quote unquote female Pinhead, she's a transgender actress. I thought she did a fantastic job. And people are like, oh, my Pinhead is supposed to be male and everything. To me, what that just says is you have a preference, fine, but you haven't read the story. The story very much describes the Cenobites are androgynous. They're neither male nor female. And I think that and Rich, I think you can back me up in this. These versions, you really have that
Sure,
in between.
absolutely. And as you said, the character Pinhead, if you didn't say that, I would have no clue that actor or actress, or they, if that is what their preferred pronoun is,
right.
I wouldn't have known, and I wouldn't have. I mean, I don't care about that stuff anyway. But
me neither.
That changes nothing about the performance that they put on.
Was spectacular, honestly. I mean, I will never ever criticize Doug Bradley's performance as the original Pinhead. He was amazing. He's still amazing, and he's still one of the best things that came out of all those movies, although they decreasingly got worse. But bringing back to what Schmezel said, horror, I think, is just unfortunately a bit of a slump. There are still good ideas there. They're just fewer and far between. So,
gotta find the gems.
Yeah, it's one of those things I like to always bring up to people when they want to be critical about it. Okay, then make your own movie.
Sure.
But a lot of people, it's just easier to criticize on the internet. It's like, write your own script, create your own characters. If you want to go back to some heyday, do it. But because it's work, people won't. So,
but speaking of horror and flashback and a heyday version, everyone here, I know everybody here on the show has watched Werewolf by Night on Disney Plus.
Did you ask if I was done though?
Are you done though?
There was 2 other news items. Just
all right, go for it. I'm sorry, I jumped the segue. I saw an opportunity for segue. I jumped. I'm sorry, I got excited. I really like the show. I want to talk about it, but no, go ahead, Leo. I apologize. We'll have to fix it in post.
Just real quick, rumor is saying that Michael Keaton, even though Batgirl was canceled, it does not affect his storyline, and he will still remain the DCEU's Batman going forward. And then the other thing is Madam Web. A lot of pictures have been leaking from filming. I believe Dakota Fanning in a white with white hair has been spotted.
So Madam Web in the new Spider-Man movie?
Madam Web movie.
Oh, her own movie.
Her own movie.
Ooh.
Which, with all due respect to everyone involved and whatnot, I have to ask why.
Sony.
No, I know. I'm aware. I'm just why.
Sony.
And my favorite is so many people, even though we, the nerds, will know who Madam Web is, and will always give credit that we will never not hear Joan Lee, the deceased and loving wife of the former great Stan Lee, just reciting the lines as Madam Web in the 1990s Spider-Man. I mean, that's who I hear when I think Madam Web. And even she even made it into the video games. She was in that Shattered Dimensions.
Yep.
Yeah, but does she her own movie? I don't know. That's a lot.
You know what I just have to end this with? It's webbing time.
Leo, I say this at least 3 times every show. So I'm gonna say my first one. Get out.
Oh, he did. Now what are we gonna do?
Okay, Werewolf by Night. Werewolf by Night.
If you do that again, it'll be longer.
Okay, holy shit. Werewolf by Night. Okay, who wants to kick it off?
Rich, you go.
All right. Yeah, I watched Werewolf by Night on Disney Plus twice. The first time, of course, just for the first watch and enjoyment, and the second for more research, looking at details and stuff. I loved it.
Can we agree again? Really, no big spoilers here, that we won't really reveal anything.
Yeah, absolutely. No big. Well, mostly no big spoilers.
Right.
I will try my best. But I thought it was very well done. Black and white, with just a splash of red for the bloodstone, and then of course at the very end, which I won't ruin. A throwback to it felt like the 1950s Universal monsters, right up to his transformation into the werewolf, which they did in Shadow, which some people loved and some people hated. I thought it was brilliant. What do you think, Drew?
I definitely thought the same thing. I thought it's very Universal monsters feel. I liked it. I definitely enjoyed it. I feel like I need to see more. I felt like in the beginning it dragged a little bit when we were introduced to characters who essentially I just saw as cannon fodder for the creatures. I thought the series had a great cameo in it. And to me, he stole the show, even in the brief time I got to see him.
Absolutely.
I like Jack. I feel like I want to see a little bit more because, I don't want to say I thought it was a little bland. I just felt like I could have used a little bit more on Jack's end.
Sure.
Because I'm so used to Jack Russell, the kind of the archetype of a werewolf,
Sure.
Tormented by what he does when he's on his other side. He's basically like a supernatural Hulk.
Right. And this wasn't a movie and it wasn't a series. They called it a special presentation.
Right.
And for those that grew up in the 70s and 80s, CBS used to do a special presentation. They used the same sound effects, the same bongos. So they obviously were emulating that.
Okay.
And usually what those series were, it was some kind of thing that was just 45 minutes or an hour trying to encapsulate a large subject. So as far as them, with the time parameters that they had, I understand your complaints, Drew, but I also understood the parameters they were under. So,
I do want to stress it's not really a complaint. It's more just a criticism. It wasn't that I didn't enjoy it. Like I know when I know when I don't like a Marvel thing. I'm very clear about that. It was just little things. Like I still enjoyed it. For me, the thing I just didn't understand is why at the end we switched to full color. That was just my thing. I thought that was a really weird choice because it should have just been.
Okay, go ahead.
No, I just felt like it should have just been all black and white, or like with a splash of color, kind of doing like the Sin City, or it should have just been all. But I feel like also the reason they did in black and white wasn't just emulating the universal things. I think it was also to kind of get away with some of the censors because too much blood, kind of like what Evil Dead did to get around the censors back in the early 80s. We could have a lot of blood, but if it was black or green or blue or whatnot, you would get away with a lot of it.
Well,
Sure.
this did have some of the most vicious violence in any Marvel property so far.
Yeah, and
There was definitely some blood spurts for sure. And even coming into the initial credits, started in color, your typical Marvel credits. And then when the initial, there was like a couple of slashes, 4 claw marks across the screen, and then it instantly went to black and white. And to answer, Drew, your question, why they ended up doing that color piece at the end, when the character Elsa first came into the house, she had no intentions of staying in the house. She just wanted to try to get the Bloodstone and be gone. And at the end, she was in another place because I don't want to ruin it for anybody, but obviously, Drew, from the end of the story, at the end of the story, she was definitely in a different mental place at that point.
Yes.
And I think that was sort of a saying, hey, look, this whole thing is changed, and the music that they used, so they were trying to do a little bit of a crossover or at least an homage to Wizard of Oz. Also they showed that other homage of Wizard of Oz is when Jack Russell tried to touch the Bloodstone and he was thrown back, just like when the witch tried to touch the ruby slippers and she was thrown back. So I thought they were trying to do a little bit of that.
Yeah, I mean, again, one of my favorite things was our surprise guest, who, let's just say for reference, we'll call Ted. Very much enjoyed.
He was in the trailer.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, I somehow missed that. But personally, I loved seeing him, and I was like, oh, hey. That to me was a bit of the joy that I really enjoyed. I enjoyed any scene.
And they did a great job on the CGI on that, Drew. Absolutely.
And I would like to see more.
There was an actor under there also. It's the same actor that played Black Chrysanthemum.
Casey Jones.
Yes.
Cool. But so I thoroughly enjoyed it. To me, it fit my criteria for watching something spooky that day. So totally fine with me. Yeah,
I really like the marks on his face that they retained, the tribal marks that stayed on when he became the werewolf.
Yeah,
and his speed and agility were pretty insane.
Oh yeah,
so that was pretty cool to see.
I'm simply hoping that we see more horror because honestly, Werewolf by Night to me, if we keep building up the horror, we could get an MCU Midnight Suns, and I'm all for that. That's all I'm going to say. Especially because if you think about it supernatural wise, we have Werewolf by Night. We're not going to talk about Morbius because they're just going to make me mad.
It wasn't Elsa in the Midnight Suns at one point as well?
I believe so. At one point, we're going to get Blade. He was in that. Ghost Rider was in that.
And Ulysses Bloodstone was a Marvel comic. He was a caveman that found it, and they didn't call it the Bloodstone back then. They called it the Blood Gem, and it fashioned his chest, and it helped him live long and have powers and kill monsters.
So, point being, back to my assessment, I'd say it's worth a watch. And again, guys, it's only 55 minutes. So, it's not like, hey, everyone, it's another 2.5 hour Marvel movie. It's something short, easy, you can watch and enjoy. If you like it, cool. If you don't, okay. There aren't a bunch of other Marvel projects. But last not least, Leo, what did you think?
Absolutely loved it. So one thing I'm definitely going to stress is, you can go into this not knowing anything, on the Dorkening, Steven is a little leery on watching some stuff because he doesn't have the comic background. But with this here, I could see, you don't have to have watched all the MCU movies or anything. You can just go into this totally blind and absolutely love it. It was a lot of fun. There was another secret, well, not really secret, but Kirk Thatcher He played Jovan, the guy with the axe.
Okay.
He is, and Rich, you probably know this from watching the same video, but he was in Star Trek 4. He was the guy that wouldn't turn down the radio
On the bus.
Yeah, that Spock.
That Spock had to knock out.
He's like the 80s rocker. No, you didn't watch Star Trek 4.
That's the whale one, Drew.
Oh, thank you. Got it. Have seen that. Yeah, I got it. Thank you, Leo.
Nuclear
Thank
Wessels.
you, Rich. You said you had to click it. It was like, oh, the whale one, right.
He also played this pretty much the same character in Spider-Man Homecoming. Just a old dude with a radio. It's
just doesn't want to shut off that radio.
Yeah. But yeah, it's we shouldn't really spoil anything. But I love Ted.
Yeah,
and they had especially their little ending scene together. It felt like they had like this great relationship, friendship relationship that they looked out after each other.
Well, I mean, considering the nature of their essence, let's call it, it kind of makes sense that they would be. Mm-hmm. So hopefully we see more of Ted and Jack in the MCU. I personally like it because it reminds me that not all Marvel is very superheroes and whatnot. There's weirdness there, and I'm like, good, let's embrace that.
Yeah, they really tapped into the 1950s and 60s, deep into horror.
Yeah. So speaking of horror, I would now like to segue into our book this week. I'm very excited to review this. This was a book that was recommended to me, and I'm really glad it was recommended to you guys because it's a great read. Something is Killing the Children.
Which is perfect for October.
Thank you, Rich. It's gonna catch on before you know it, buddy. So the book is by James Tynion IV, and the illustrator is Werther Dell'Edera. And honestly, I have to say, after reading this book, and I read the whole thing as it is so far, I can understand why it's been winning the awards. This is a very original idea. It's very in your face. It doesn't hold back the punches. It's very intense, and it's perfect for Halloween. Like, this is, I really don't know how to talk about it without spoiling things, and I really don't want to spoil it because I want you guys to go out and read it. That's how good this is. But I love the character. I love our heroine. I love the thing she hunts.
Yes, Ms. Slaughter.
Yeah, the whole thing was great. And then on top of it, other stories within this little universe, I guess, they really build more on the world that she's from, and it's great, man. Because the thing I also like is that, to me, I really find I enjoy stories that, they're fantastical, but they're very real. Like, a lot of the people, the reactions, all these supporting characters, they acted like real people. Real people, when they're scared, they do fucked up stuff. They jump to poor conclusions. They do things that they normally wouldn't if their heads were clear. But fear does that. Anger does that. Guilt does that. And to me, I was just like, yes. And these are all things that would happen in situations like these extraordinary circumstances of these deaths that everyone's like, oh, it's a serial killer, some horror movie thing. I'm like, nope, it's actually something much, much worse. So, but that's my 2 cents. I would really love to hear what you guys thought about it. So,
before we get into that, just want to let you know that this came out September 4th, 2019 is when issue 1 was first published. And it is currently in run right now. So I believe issue 26 just dropped recently.
Yes, it did.
Cool beans.
Nice.
So, Rich.
Yeah, so I thought this was a great psychological thriller. It taps into, of course, killing children, which everyone feels affected by. But it goes into, there's this kid, and all his friends get murdered, and to the police he says, "Yeah, I fell down a well. All of a sudden, I heard everyone screaming. I don't know what happened to them, but he really saw it, and it affected him psychologically." And then we don't really. I think the interesting thing about the story is we don't really see the monsters until fairly deep in. They very much just give you glimpses and give you ideas of what's going on, but you get this kid that's affected. You have the town that's affected because all these kids. Then you find out that there's been children dying all over the country in little things, little patches, and then it stops. But this one seems to be especially bad. Yeah. And the way that it's even goes through this poor child that went through this psychological event. Even his school principal is just crying because it's such a horror that their town is going through, and that these children are just being murdered. And then there's this mysterious woman that suddenly comes to town, and they're like, oh, maybe she has something to do with it. Does she? Doesn't she? But she does not. Well, she has something to do with it, but not in the way that anybody thinks. So great Halloween story. I'm really glad Drew recommended this book. When he said the name James Tynion, I was like, oh, I know that. He's written on some things before, but I wasn't positive. I looked up, and he's done a bunch of Batman stuff and Joker War. And he's really, he crafts a good story, certainly in this, that is for sure. I did read Joker War. I thought it was a little long-winded, but still interesting. But this was a great crafted story. In 6 issues, we don't quite get the end of the story, which actually makes me want to read further into this. So we don't get an end result. But as far as doing this, we don't always read superhero comics, and this is a great example of an enjoyable comic if you're used to reading superhero comics. And if even if you don't love horror, if you like elements of horror or elements of a good story, this is a great story for you. And thanks, Drew. I really enjoyed this, and I'm probably going to move forward reading the story because I do want to get the results.
And please do, definitely. And also, for anyone who does read it and wants to read more, they also released a connected title called, I believe it's called House of Slaughter, which I believe is a prequel, detailing more events and things that happen to characters that we see in the series. It's just as good. It's written by the same writer, so it's definitely got that same approach and feel, and a lot more monster hunting. But now, and another point I want to bring up before we hear what Leo says, I think we're also seeing a lot of really popular comic book writers that they're gravitating to horror. I mean, one other person that's in mind is one of James's longtime collaborators, Scott Snyder, who's very, yes, we know him for his Batman and whatnot, but he's got a lot of good attention for his horror work. I believe he did a series called The Witches with the artist Jock. He had it's like The Deep or The Plunge or some series that he did, which was very horror related as well. He's done a bunch of other things like that too, and I'm just really enjoying this like wave of horror writers in comics. It's just so great being a horror fan, reading old horror comics. It's not the same as reading EC comics or Creepshow or all those old horror back in the day. But I mean, by God, it's a great fucking read. So, and now Leo, what did you think?
Yeah. You stumped?
Was that a good? Wait. Was that a good or a bad one?
No, it's a good one. It's a good one.
Okay, because
James Tynion IV. I enjoyed his Batman run, but
to an extent.
Yeah, to an extent. Yeah, towards the end there,
we know we covered that.
Yep. But his writing, I mean, this here is just really shows how well he can write. Just the interactions with all the characters, and you have this kid that's the sole survivor, and nobody believes him, and everybody thinks he had a part in his friends dying, and you have this character that comes out of the blue, and like We just I just had on here her in like the Home Depot type store was hilarious. The guy's going on, oh, it has all these safety measures, you know, the chainsaw will, you can't cut yourself, it'll automatically stop if it senses, you know, your finger. And she's like, yeah, let's look at the cheap crappy ones, you know.
Yeah, they cut and rip through everything.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, absolutely love the story. And you know, just early on, there was one shot that really struck me, and you know, it sort of like gives you a sense of what's going on. Where you know, you have the person here. You know, you see his reflection in the window, but you don't see the creature. And I think that definitely does you know, obviously a little foreshadowing of how everything's going on.
Well, that's the thing I also really liked about it, is that just because the adults can't see them doesn't mean that they still can't kill you.
Yep, exactly.
So that to me was just like, wow, this is even it's a real terror, you know, because it would just look like, you know, some invisible force is tearing the limbs off of these kids and killing them, but no. And I will say the one thing that stuck to me was the talking familiar, the little stuffed toy.
Oh yeah,
I forgot about that. Yeah,
like that to me. And you'll find that the best part is that every hunter has one that's like that. And
interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
it's really creepy. Like it's one of those where I'm like, oh, that's unsettling. You know, I was like, it's one of those, you don't really look at a stuffed companion the same ever again. You're like, that's terrifying. Also, there's one thing I had to say. Did anybody else kind of feel a bit like how the kid, the sole survivor, was drawn? It kind of gave you like, because I've met James more than a few times in my life. I was like, the way he looked, I was like, are you like a stand-in for James? You know what I mean? This is like kid James
Himself as a child.
Yeah, with the glasses and the hair and stuff. I'm like,
yeah, and I don't remember her first name. I remember it was the last name is Slaughter, but what was it?
I believe it's Erica.
Erica Slaughter, yeah. She gave me a lot of Harley vibes.
You think that about any girl would be.
That's possible. That is possible.
You know, no, she for me, she had some real Laurie Strode vibes to her, like the final girl, ready to she kind of reminded me a little bit of like Cassie Hack from Hack and Slash, you know, like I'm a final girl and now I'm going to make sure I go off and kill these things so nobody else has to go through what I did, you know. Really sure. But and then also we've been talking about James, like the his creative collaborator here. I mean, this stuff, like the artwork is just perfect for the story. Like it's detailed enough to where it's not cartoonish, but it's nice. It's got that nice grittiness that fits a horror comic.
Yep.
Right.
Totally.
You know what I mean? Like, especially on top of it, and the inker colorist, like the colors just pop and it hits you right where you need to. It's got that nice, like, horror brightness. You know what I mean? It's got that very nice aesthetic. Like everybody just complements each other in this book. Like it really just moves you from beginning to end. So
yeah, it absolutely works. And I mean, if anything's going to move you into moving to, you know, your first delve into an independent comic, if you've never read anything but Marvel and DC, this is a great intro book. And yeah, I'm definitely recommending this going forward for a great comic, you know, great horror comic.
So the publisher, is it Boom Studios?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. So let's see. Fine.
Now wasn't that the Stan Lee partner before he passed away? Didn't he create Boom Studios? Am I wrong?
I'm not
Nobody?
sure.
Just me? All right.
I know.
I won't take that as fact. I just failed.
I know I've read stuff that Boom Studios has done in the past, but I can't really. I'm pulling up their wiki right now.
So if you go to boom-studios.com or just Google Boom Studios, you can order the book directly from them. They also have a comic shop locator to find out where you can get the latest issues. I mean, we could recommend the Big A, but down with corporate, like big business. So yeah, order directly from Boom Studios, or check with your local comic shop. They just may have it.
There you go.
Yeah. Or if you don't have the budget, jump online and readallcomics.com. That's where I read it.
Yeah. It's a 2020 Best New Series Will Eisner nominee.
Yeah, so obviously, more than just the three of us think it's a good storyline.
Totally.
But yeah, so I'm just really glad you guys enjoyed it, and I really hope you do read the rest because the story is great.
Is 80 Days another? No, that's something else. That's another from. I thought that was a tie-in.
I'm telling you, Leo, the tie-in for this book is House of Slaughter.
Yeah. Yep.
And that's a fairly new one. I know. I think they barely cracked 12 issues so far, so it's still pretty fresh. So, and you don't have to read the main series to get it, although it helps. Okay, I'm good there.
Yeah, if we're not trying to give anybody the end of the story or the whole basis of the story, then that is about as much as we can say.
Trust me, it's just like Rich, what you said. Just keep reading. Just keep reading and enjoy the story for what it is, because I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed.
Yeah, I blazed through 4 issues yesterday and 2 issues so fast. There's a couple of panels that have more text to read, but a lot of it is just 1 or 2 lines in a beautifully illustrated imagery. So,
all right, Leo, would you read more, or are you good with just issues?
No, I would read more, but also you sent me down a friggin' rabbit hole. Why'd you do that? So I'm on Boom Studios, and I just noticed this looks pretty cool. Once and Future, but it's Kieran Gillian written by, and he did the Darth Vader books.
Yes, he did,
which are friggin' phenomenal.
He also did a lot of good Marvel work too, but yes, let's focus on your Star Wars.
Yeah, that's a nice imagery with the on the sword and everything. That's very cool.
Well, yeah, that artist. Is that Dan Mora?
That is Dan Mora.
Yeah, he's a great artist. He's doing World's Finest with Mark Waid, and his artwork is just fantastic. So go him. But yeah, all right. So do you guys, since there's really not much more to say, do you guys just want to kind of end it a little early today?
We can do that because we have some planning to do for Rhode Island Comic-Con.
Yes.
Yeah. So
there's a good shot. We have a special guest coming in next week.
We do. So what should we do for this one to replace the crowbars? Should it be chainsaws?
Yes, because Erica talked about it. We shall see 1 out of 5 shitty chainsaws.
So not a what is it? Stall?
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
well, I hate to be consistent, but we've just been reading some really great books lately. So I'm going to give this a 4 1/4.
Nice.
I can't really say there were anything wrong with this storyline per se, but just as far as how it hit me, definitely enjoyable on the higher end, but not the most enjoyable I've ever read. So here's my reasoning.
All right, I'm going to give it 4.5 shitty chainsaws. Again, I still rarely give a 5. Similar to Rich, there wasn't anything I hated about it. It's just not like the most profound and scary thing I've ever read. You should see my taxes.
Boom.
Thank you. I'll leave now. But we're leaving soon, so that works. But this is a great book. I thoroughly recommend this to anybody. And honestly, just please, if you give this book a chance and then keep reading, because this is definitely a story worth supporting. So, sure. Leo?
Yeah, I absolutely loved it. Like I said before, I love it even more that it's, independent. Um, yeah, I was gonna go 4.5, but I don't want to copy Velvet. No, you did 4.25. Drew
I
did
did. I did indeed.
4.5.
I did.
I'll do 4 1/3.
Right in
There,
the middle. Right in the middle.
middle.
You and your fucking fraction.
Leo, Drew, and I will be your bread anytime.
Much appreciated.
That's a thick sandwich, my dude. It is a thick sandwich. But continuing, so Leo, you were saying.
Yeah, 4 1/3. Absolutely, highly recommend. Everybody check it out. I'm gonna be looking at continuing the storyline, especially since they're only 26 issues in. Now is a great time to get caught up, and this is easily going to become a hit. And if you
Already a hit.
so go find the early issues now. While
Yeah,
they're still fairly cheap, right?
Yeah, it's already a hit. I mean, the thing's won a bunch of, I believe, a couple of Eisners
Yeah.
already. So, I mean, please, don't make the mistake that so many of us did with The Walking Dead, not thinking was going to be a hit. Please support, buy, own, love.
Surprise, motherfuckers!
Boom.
Uh,
And yeah,
Yeah, so I'm just looking to see what issue 1 is going for on eBay.
it's probably not too much, but
No, it's what it looks like $20.
it's not bad considering the book was, what, $3.99, $2.99 when it came out. But again, just remember, anything will always raise in price when they make a movie of it. And I'm sorry, I'm gonna be honest. They make a movie of this, I'm seeing it.
Yeah.
I'll buy that for $1.
Nice. So we have another great show planned for you guys next week, but you're gonna have to tune in to see what and who will be joining all of us, because our wayward friend, Mr. Jeremy, Mr. Jar Jar, is away this week, but he'll be back. So all 4 of the Musketeers back again. Plus our fun guest star who is returning for his second appearance.
Yeah. Second on this one, I think 4th or 5th on the Dorkening.
Yes, definitely a friend of the show.
Totally. And so next week we are going to be most likely talking about Werewolf by Night. The comic. We're going to be digging into the comics, right?
There was one piece of news I forgot that we had to talk about.
Oh, what was that?
We had to have a moment of silence for Angela Lansbury.
Of course, yes.
96
years old.
So everyone, a moment of silence, please. Good.
Thank you.
96 and only 5 days away from her 90, what would have been her 97th birthday. I did say that she did pass away in her sleep peacefully. She's remembered lovingly. And I also got to give credit to this woman. I mean, what a legacy to leave behind. You were a respected character in both film, television, and theater. That's a great one. And 96 is a hell of a run.
Yeah, she goes back. I looked up her IMDb. I mean, she had some of those shows that were like sponsored by General Electric, and that was like the name of the show, like General Electric Theater.
Right. And it's funny because, and what I like is that there's literally something for everybody in her repartee. Like if you loved murder shows, Murder, She Wrote. If you loved Disney, she was in Beauty and the Beast. Hell, if you loved other Disney, she was in Ben Knobs and Broomsticks.
Yeah, that before anything else.
Okay, Leo.
And she was in classics like Samson and Delilah back in the 1950s and 60s.
Leo, I brought it up, okay? I mentioned it. Be happy, okay? And then even in theater, she was in one of the best productions of Sweeney Todd. She was fantastic. And she was one of the stars who really didn't believe in retirement. She just was kept going till the end,
So she started acting in 1944. She was Queen Anne in The Three Musketeers in 1948.
Wow.
Yeah, Ford Television Theater TV series, 1953.
Yep. So, but especially, like I said, she just kept going, and of course we'll always remember her as Mrs. Potts, in Beauty and the Beast.
Never.
Beauty and the Beast.
Telling us about a tale as old as time. Gotta love her. Just it's really sad, but you know what? Again, her memory will live on. We'll always remember her fondly, and we'll be our best, so we can be your guest.
Absolutely.
Excellent. All right, now Leo, we can end the show.
Never seen it, so I don't get that reference.
Get out.
Oh shit! I went full screen. How do I do that? Okay. I want to thank everybody for watching this fine evening. You are watching Splash Pages, the comic book club. Head on over to our Facebook so you can talk about comics with us and learn more about what we're going to be talking about next. And just have fun with us. We're trying to get our TikTok up and going. We have YouTube up and going. For me, just Google Leo Pond. You find a bunch of stuff. Could be true, could be not. But I run the Dorkening Podcast Network. We got a ton of awesome shows on the network. There's a lot of awesome people doing a lot of awesome stuff. Head on over to thedorkening.com. You can see all the latest episodes there. And Mr. Drew.
Hey everybody. Hey everyone, when I'm not here, I'm somewhere else doing other things. I'm available on Instagram, on the internet, and other places. And if I don't respond to you, it's probably because I'm really tired, but I'll get there eventually. Happy Halloween.
Love it.
Hey guys, me, Velvet Joker, aka Rich Davis, aka the Throwback King in October. Anyway, you can find me, my socials, Rich Davis on Facebook. You can find me, Velvet Joker 2021 on Instagram. And now that I'm doing TikTok and working on my little TikTok edits, you can find me at Velvet Joker 1 out there. And hope you like what we're doing. I had a bad back tonight, so I'm not super coiffed tonight. So I hope you'll take my apology for that, and have a great night.
Catch you guys later. Bye.
Later.